Hey everybody, this is Rykard here, and welcome to the announcement video of the first ever tournament that I am going to run. I've talked about doing this for a very long time in past videos, but now since I can stream on Twitch TV very successfully, and I have a few people watching every time I do that, I figured it would be the perfect opportunity to start streaming tournaments for all of you to participate in and watch if you choose not to participate in. But either way, this tournament series is going to be referred to as the Master of Them All Tournament Series. I felt that was a very appropriate name. And I'm also going to abbreviate that and refer to it as MODA every now and then, so just keep that in mind. But either way, the first tournament for this series is going to be known as the Kanto Champion, which is something I will discuss a little bit later when I get into the rule set. But overall, I'm just hoping this series turns into something really exciting and something all of you look forward to on this channel, and also want to partake in future tournaments, even if you don't have the time to do this one. But anyways, just kick things off right now by telling you the general information about this tournament and what you need to do and where you need to be to participate in it. So the first thing you all need to know about this tournament is that it is going to be taking place on the Pokemon Showdown website. Now, if you have never been there before, I will leave a link to that website in the description. You could also Google it very easily, but I will leave that in the description along with all this other information for ease of access so that you don't have to constantly watch the whole video every time you want to re-verify what the rules are and where and when this is taking place. The next thing you need to know is when it is taking place, though, which is going to be this coming Saturday, August 24th at 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. Now, for those of you that don't know what Eastern Standard Time means, that means the eastern part of the United States. That is the time zone I'm going by. If you are from a different place, because I know I do have quite a few viewers from other countries as well as other areas of the United States, you could probably Google the time zone differences and figure out what time is actually taking place in your time zone or country. So there is that. I'm also giving you all 2 hours to register for this tournament before it begins, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, meaning that if you don't wake up in time, you still have plenty of time to actually register for this thing. I'm doing everything the day of just because a lot of times when you do pre-registration, it doesn't always work out, people don't show up, so I'd rather people know that they're going to be free that day and tell me they're going to register on the day of it happens so that they are easily able to be there and either partake or watch the tournament. As far as where you are going to be watching this tournament, it's going to be my Twitch channel. I'm going to be streaming this at twitch.tv/Rykard3, so that should be very easy for you all to follow. And obviously, for those of you that are participating in the tournament, you should always have the stream window open as well, so that it is so much easier for me to get in contact with you if something is happening. I'm also going to be posting the bracket, which I listed right there. That is the bracket page as of right now. Obviously there's no one registered for it, but you can kind of bookmark that if you want that for future reference. But me, along with other people that are probably easily going to be able to post this in the chat, will be constantly reminding you of where to find the bracket if you lose track of it or if you accidentally closed your browser or something like that. It'll be very easy to find so you know who you're playing and when your next match is going to be. So as far as the general rules for this tournament are concerned, before I get into the more tournament-specific ones on the next slide, the first thing you all need to know is that the number of entrants for this tournament is going to be capped at 256. Now, I have no idea if I'm ever even going to reach that amount. I think that's actually very ambitious to even reach that amount because the most amount of people that watch my stream at a time is generally somewhere in the 50s. But if this is a tournament that people enjoy, there might be a huge difference in that viewer count. I have no idea. But either way, keep in mind that that does mean that this is a first come, first serve thing. So once that cap is reached, you will not be able to register or participate in the tournament. You can, however, easily watch it still on Twitch TV, but it's probably a better idea to obviously register earlier so that you know you have a slot in the tournament. As far as the type of tournament is concerned, this is going to be a double elimination tournament, meaning that there is a loser's bracket, meaning that if you do lose your first match, you still actually have a chance to win the whole thing if you don't lose a match since your first loss, because obviously if you keep winning and keep winning, you can still win the thing. If you lose 2 matches, you're out, which is why it's double elimination. You also need to keep in mind that this is going to be a best of 1, meaning that if you lose the match that you have against your opponent, you're in the loser's bracket or you're out of the tournament. It doesn't really make sense to do 2 out of 3 with Pokemon since you will see your opponent's team for the second match and everything like that. So I honestly think that doesn't really make much sense, to be completely honest, to do anything other than best of 1. As far as the metagame that we're going to be using, the matches are going to be taking place using the 5th gen game mechanics, even though this is a Kanto tournament. So for those of you that were thinking that this is going to be taking place using Gen 1 mechanics, that is not true. It is going to be 5th gen. We will have abilities. We will have the special physical split. we will have Steel and Dark type Pokemon, except I don't think there are any Dark type Pokemon in Gen 1, but there is one Steel type. But as far as the battle timer is concerned, it will always be turned on. I don't want this tournament taking any longer than it really needs to, because it's really frustrating when people are purposely stalling things out. So always turn on the battle timer. You or your opponent should always do that so that this tournament runs smoothly and people get their battles as quickly as they are able to. As far as the general clauses, Pokemon Showdown actually enforces these regardless, but I'm just going to write them down here so you all know. The first is that species clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot have two Pokemon of the same species on your team. Also, sleep clause is in effect, meaning that you cannot put two of your opponent's Pokemon to sleep. Evasion clause is in effect, meaning you cannot use any moves that boost your evasion, such as double team or minimize. However, this does not mean that you cannot use moves that lower your opponent's accuracy, meaning that if you want to go ahead and use Mud Slap or Sand Attack, you are more than welcome to. As far as OHKO clause, this just refers to all the moves that are one-hit KO moves, such as Guillotine, which will obviously easily kill your opponent in one hit. Those are banned from this tournament, as well as the ability Moody. Now, obviously, none of the Pokemon from Gen 1, I think, even have the Moody ability, so that isn't even remotely important to note, but it's there anyway because that is a general rule for you to keep in mind. Moving on to more tournament-specific rules, the first thing that you all need to know, and that you probably already figured out, is that all Pokemon used in this tournament and on your teams must be from the Kanto region, which is the original 151 Pokemon, obviously because this is the Kanto Champion Tournament. Now, this will create a very interesting metagame due to the fact that you will not have to worry about a lot of other threats that you're used to worrying about playing the current 5th gen metagame, because obviously those Pokemon won't be there. So this is going to be interesting because you're not going to have to take into account a lot of Pokemon that you are normally worried about, but there are a lot of others that you're going to be very commonly running into that you're going to need to account for in order to be able to handle them on your opponent's teams and also in your own team building process. Another thing you need to know is that all teams that you use in this tournament must include one and only one of the 3 starter Pokemon or their evolutions. Meaning that if you, say, chose Bulbasaur, hypothetically, that means you cannot use Squirtle or its evolutions or Charmander or its evolutions, and obviously that means you would probably just use Venusaur in that regard. Every team has to include one of the 3 starters, so that is something to keep in mind in terms of team building. And I also think this makes it kind of fun because when you play through the games, you're always obviously going to be using your starter all the time. So it kind of creates that situation where if you were to play through the game using a team that you obviously caught in game, this is kind of what it would look like. Another thing to keep in mind is that only one Eeveelution is allowed per team because you only get one Eevee in the Gen 1 games. So if you want to use Vaporeon, you can't use Jolteon or Flareon. Obviously, this also means that you don't even have to use any Eeveelutions, but if you use one, you can't use another. Another thing to keep in mind is that the ability Drought is going to be banned for this tournament. You can still use Ninetales, obviously, with its other abilities, and obviously Flash Fire Ninetales is pretty fantastic in itself, so that is something to possibly consider when you make a team, but Drought is going to be banned. You still can use other weather-inducing moves, such as, Rain Dance, Sunny Day, Hail, and all that kind of stuff, but the Perma-Weather in the form of the Drought ability is going to be banned. And then lastly, there are 3 Pokemon that are going to be banned for this tournament, and I think this makes complete sense due to the fact that there are very few things to check these Pokemon in Gen 1. So the first Pokemon ban is going to be Dragonite, mostly because there is only one Steel type in Gen 1 to take a Dragon type move, and that Pokemon is also 4 times weak to Earthquake, which Dragonite always packs anyway. There are also very few Pokemon with access to Ice Shard, and running Yachi Berry Dragonite with Multiscale is pretty much the most powerful thing you could run into in Gen 1 if you're only using Gen 1 Pokemon, so there are very few things to check Dragonite, so that is why that Pokemon is banned. As far as Mewtwo, that should be completely obvious, and then Mew is banned as well, just because the metagame does not account for so many threats that the 5th gen metagame does currently account for, which is why it is currently listed in UU, so Mew is going to be banned for this tournament as well. And the last thing you all need to know for this tournament is how to register and participate. So the first thing that you all need to do is find me in the YouTube chat room on Pokemon Showdown. Now, I will be listed near the top because I am voiced, so I will be very easy for all of you to find. I will have a plus sign next to my name, and I will be near the top, so that should be fairly easy for you all to find. I will show you how to do this in just a second in a little on-screen demo, but I just wanted to put this all here as well. The next thing you want to do is send me a private message saying I want to register for your tournament, which will signify to me that you want to register for the tournament. Now, the name that you send me a private message with is the name I'm going to register in the bracket. So if you want to use something else, I am not going to do that. And the reason being is that you need to stay in the chat room the entire time so that your opponents can find you. Because obviously, if you want to challenge your opponent, you're going to need to be able to look for them by the same name that is listed in the bracket. And it is up to all of you to find these people and challenge them. The next thing that you need to do is have the stream opened the entire time to listen for directions and also find the link to the bracket. It is also important to note that I obviously will be periodically posting the bracket as well as other people, but that I will be streaming various matches in the tournament since I am not going to be participating in it. So I'm just going to kind of look for two people that should be playing, and I'm going to stream the match so that people that are just spectating can easily watch something and kind of see how it goes. I might provide a little commentary on it as it's going on, kind of be like a sports commentator and things like that. So that'll be fun for me as well. So for those of you that just want to watch and don't want to participate, you will have plenty of things to easily watch for this tournament because I'll just be streaming various matches. And then lastly, the last thing that you need to do for me is share your replays with me so that I can have them all to kind of make an interactive bracket once the tournament is finished. And the easiest way to do that is once your battle is done, there's an option to click share replay. If you click that, a link will pop up, and just send me that link at a private message, and I will keep that in kind of like an archive for myself to then make a potential interactive bracket once the tournament is over for everyone that might have missed the tournament to go see it, or for those of you that participated to watch other people battle or your own matches. Also, the last thing that you all need to keep in mind, and I'm not going to put this here because you should just all know this already, is that I will easily DQ you if you do not show up to your match in time. I don't know really what the time limit I'm going to go with for this is going to be yet, but keep in mind that if you take way too long or if you leave the chat room, I'm going to disqualify you or just move you straight to the losers bracket if you have not lost a match already. So that is going to be something that will occur if you take way too long to get your match. And I am a huge proponent of doing this just so that the tournament can run smoothly, because if there's one person holding up the bracket, I will flip. And now moving on to a demo to how to do all of this, the first thing that you're going to need to do once you go to the Pokemon Showdown website, which you can see right here, is look on the right side of the page where you see all the different chat rooms. Under the non-official chat rooms, you'll see the YouTube chat, and that'll be the one that I'm in, so click on that, and then you will automatically be in the chat room, which you can see right here. Now the next thing to do is, if you haven't registered for this website at all, you need to pick a name, so in the top right corner, click that. I'm going to choose the name Moda Contestant for this video, and once you pick the name, the first thing that you need to do if you have never used this website before is just have one battle, because then you can officially register after that. You just need to keep that in mind for future use. But once you have registered, you need to go over to the team builder, click on that, make your team and everything, and then you will be all set to participate in this tournament. So the next thing you need to do after you have all this preliminary stuff out of the way is find me. I'm listed near the top right there. As you can see, I have a plus sign, so that'll be very easy for you all to find. Click on my name, and then click on chat, which is the second of the two boxes that pop up in that window. Ignore that little pop-up right there, though. But as you can see, a chat box has opened for Rykard right now, which is me. And then all you need to do is type in, "I want to participate in your tournament," and I will register for the tournament, as I said before, and that will signify to me to register for you for the tournament, and I'll put your name in, and you'll be good to go. So that is pretty much all I need to tell you about this tournament. I will obviously post all the rules in the description as well for ease of access, so you can see all of them, so that you don't have to keep rewatching this video if you want to know what the rule set is. And then the last thing I have to say to all of you is good luck, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the unique Gen 1 teams that you guys build using a starter, which I think is a really cool, unique twist to this whole thing. But anyways, that is it for this video, everyone. So as always, take care, goodbye, I will see you next time, and I hope to see you on my live stream and as a contestant or participant in the tournament that is going to be taking place this Saturday, August 24th at noon Eastern Standard Time.